Have you ever bought a cozy game because everyone was hyping it up online, and then, an hour in, you start to feel like it's not for you, and you never open it again? I think we've all been there. I've definitely done that too. Like with Hello Kitty Island Adventure. It seemed like something I'd love, but I ended up dropping it pretty quickly. And I realized that a lot of the time, we're buying with our eyes, not really thinking about what we actually want to play. We just pick something up because it looks good or because it's trending. So to avoid that, I came up with a simple 7-step system I now use before buying any game, so I don't waste money or end up with another game I never touch again. And today, I want to share it with you. The first step may sound simple, but it's something people skip all the time. Before buying a game, pause for a second and ask yourself, do I actually feel like playing this right now? And really focus on the right now. It's easy to look at a game and think, this looks like something I'd enjoy, but that's very different from actually wanting to play it in this moment. Because often, you're not buying for your current self, you're buying for your future self. You know, I'll play this later, I'll get into this eventually, and then it never happens. And it gets even harder when a game is everywhere. Everyone's talking about it, it looks amazing, and it starts to feel like something you should try too, so you end up buying it, even if you weren't actually in the mood for it. And that's how your library slowly fills up with games you swear you'll play someday. So even this one small check can save you from a lot of impulse buys or regret. If a game passes that first check, it's time to take a closer look at it. I usually start by checking if the game has a demo. If it does, I'll give it a go. Even a short session can tell you a lot, how the game feels to play, what the moment-to-moment gameplay is like, and whether it runs smoothly on your setup. If there's no demo, watching real gameplay is the next best thing. Sometimes a game looks amazing in trailers and falls completely flat when someone's just playing it. As you watch, pay attention to what you'll actually be doing most of the time, how the game runs, and whether there are any bugs. And if you can, try to find footage from your platform, because the experience can be quite different between PC, Switch, PlayStation and Xbox. At this point, it's also worth checking what other people think about the game. Personally, I find user reviews more useful than critic reviews. They tend to be more grounded, focus especially on the negative ones, not to convince yourself not to buy it, but to spot potential deal breakers. Look for patterns. If the same issues keep coming up, like performance problems, lack of content, that's a red flag, no matter how cute the game is. After all that, I like to do a quick value check. How much do I realistically see myself playing the game? Not the ideal version, realistically. If it feels like something you'll come back to for hours, full price might be worth it. But if it's a shorter experience, or you're not entirely sure you'll stick with it, it's usually better to wait for a sale. Another thing that helps a lot, and can save you both money and regret, it's simply putting off your purchase. Even if a game feels perfect in the moment, give it a few days. Then come back and ask yourself, do I still want this? Excitement fades quickly, and once it does, it becomes much easier to tell whether you genuinely want the game or just like the idea of it. And for new releases, waiting a month or two is even smarter. A lot of games don't launch in a perfect state, so giving them a bit of time actually works in your favor. Bugs get fixed, performance improves, and sometimes you even get extra content to enjoy. Before you click buy, do one last check. Do I already own something like this that I haven't even played yet? You might already have games you were just as excited about, but never ended up playing. Realizing that can make it much easier to take a step back and skip a purchase you don't really need. So what does this system actually look like in real life? Before I get into what changed when I actually followed it, let's start with my most recent regret, Hello Kitty Island Adventure, and what went wrong. I picked it up at full price shortly after launch, when the hype was at its peak. Because of that, I skipped most of this process. I didn't check the gameplay in detail, and I didn't really look at reviews. I went for it mainly because it featured Sanrio characters, and I'm a huge Cinnamoroll fan, and I saw people compare it to Animal Crossing, which I absolutely love. But once I played it, it felt much more repetitive and grindy than I expected. It just wasn't the kind of gameplay I enjoy, so I stopped playing after a few days. after about 4 hours total. I'm not saying it's a bad game, a lot of people really like it. It just wasn't the right fit for me. Looking back, even a bit of research, watching gameplay or reading some negative reviews would have made me realize that much sooner, and I probably wouldn't have bought it. But with Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar, I approached things completely differently. I waited a few months after release to see how people felt once the hype settled. Then I went through the whole process. I watched gameplay, checked what a typical in-game day looks like, and read what players were saying, especially about performance and bugs. I also checked in with myself and realized I was actually in the mood for a new farming sim, something a bit different from Fields of Mistria or Stardew Valley, and when I bought it, it was exactly what I expected. The gameplay felt satisfying, I liked big characters, the small town atmosphere, it just clicked. That's the difference this system makes. You stop buying based on hype, trends or assumptions, and start choosing games you'll actually want to play. At the end of the day, even if you do everything right, sometimes you'll still buy a game that just isn't for you, and that's okay. You don't have to power through it. If a game isn't enjoyable, you can just stop and move on. And even those mistakes can be useful. You learn what doesn't work for you and make better choices next time. So if there's one thing to take away from this video, don't buy on impulse, focus on your needs, and don't forget about your backlog. Now I'm curious, what's a cozy game you thought you'd love but didn't? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!